Hi, okay. So day 22, or day 21, sorry, is going to be a challenge focused on self-care. Now, you've probably already done a lot of self-care, and it's probably not the kind of self-care I'm talking about. Usually when you think of self-care, you think of, okay, first, how to know if you need self-care. When you go out throughout your day, if you find yourself irritated, annoyed, overwhelmed, stressed, exhausted, feeling at the end of your rope, right? And overwhelmed by anything, or just it's all too much. That's how we know that we need self-care. Okay, so it's pretty easy. And we need to give it to ourselves. We need to hear that, first of all. I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling like this is too much. I'm feeling exhausted. I feel stressed. I feel totally irritated, totally just bogged down in this, pulled under, anything like that. We need to sort of sense and hear. So hopefully you can work on sensing and hearing as that's happening in your body. And we need to, then and there, give ourselves self-care. So usually when people think about self-care, they think about doing something, right? Going and taking a bath, taking a walk, taking a nap, doing something, going and reading a book. But for some people who are already at their end or overwhelmed, adding another task to do, even if it's, like eating healthy and going for a walk, that's just like another task that you have to do. You have to stand there and juice, and then you have to get your shoes on and go for a walk, or you have to fill that bathtub and get in, and right? So I'm not wanting to add when you're into that state. We don't want to add more things to do, because although sometimes they can help us unwind once we're doing them, we don't want that pressure. We want to it's like the pressure cooker's turned on, and we want to let out the valve, let out the steam, let off the hook. So we don't want to adjust ourselves to feel in any way that we're adding to the pile more things to do. Just another self-care routine that we have to do. What we want to do is when we're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, or we just feel that tension in our body starting to rise through the day, we know we need self-care. So how can we find little ways in that moment, right? Not clearing a plate, not saying, in a half an hour I'm going to give myself self-care. In that moment, how can we give ourselves self-care? We can stop and just give ourselves the gift of breathing for 10 seconds, right? Maybe we can slow down, or we can switch activities. If we're doing something that's stressing us out, we can stop. Just stop doing it. That's the first, thing that we can do in self-care. Just stop doing what's overwhelming us. Do something that makes us feel good. So if you want to go for a walk, if you want to draw a bath, or if you want to just sit down where you are and just sit for a second, flip through a magazine, or sit on the TV, or just stop all activity for 5 minutes and breathe. Whatever feels right to you. You want to go to the fridge and grab something to eat. So it's not something that you have to do. It's something that your impulse is telling you to do. Like, man, I'm tired. I need to sit down. Well, hear that voice and do it. That is, as simple as it sounds, an act of self-care. Just recognizing and sitting. Or, oh man, I haven't eaten in a long time. I'm starving. Stop what you're doing. Go to the fridge. Can you, instead of eating on the run, like standing there in front of your fridge or perched, and another way that we can give self-care is take what we're doing and do it in a nicer environment. So if you're eating at your kitchen table, can you take that same bowl and just go outside and take an extra minute or two? Not like you don't need to clear your plate, just an extra couple of minutes to move outside, to sit in the sun, to chew a little slower, and to just enjoy that meal a little bit more. Can you, if you're doing laundry or making tea and you have to get through it, can you just slow down, put on some music, or sing a song, or sit while you're folding, or anything? When you're making tea, instead of rushing through it, can you use it as a time for yourself to just listen to your thoughts, or hear yourself, or breathe, or slow down? So we're taking things that we're normally doing, we're hearing ourselves, we're either stopping them or adding enjoyment to them in some way. We're giving them our own twist that makes us feel good about, doing our laundry, or good about eating, or, can we sit in the sun a little bit longer? Can we stop and sit on a park bench for just a little bit? So it's finding these moments of self-care that aren't adding to our plate in some way, but are actually hearing, A, there's a problem, and B, what can we do in this moment to care for ourselves, to make ourselves feel less overwhelmed, less stressed, less uptight, less burdened? How can we release the valve? What can we do to unburden, to make the tension go away, to unravel things? So it's a slight difference, but it's an important difference, right? We're not adding to making ourselves more stressed and overwhelmed by having to do these things. We're stopping, we're slowing down, we're breathing, we're unwinding, we're taking things off that don't matter, and we're clearing the way for things that make us feel good, give us a moment, help us get clarity, catch our breath, feel calm or peace or invigorated. And we have to do those in the moment as they're happening. So this is your challenge today. All day. Do this all day. Self-care. We are going to give ourselves self-care all day long, not as an additional thing, but in the moment as it's happening all the time. And this is your challenge to do today and therefore. But really give this a chance, because I think you'll be surprised at what you're finding that you actually need to do for self-care isn't massive. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is go take that bath. But sometimes it's just like sit where you are and let the sun hit your face and close your eyes for 3 minutes or something, small. So they add up throughout the day if you continue to catch yourself in tension or catch yourself in overwhelm. They add up as we care for ourselves in those moments, and tension unwinds rather than builds to a pressure cooker level. It stays steady, a nice steady cooking pace.